People often talk about artificial intelligence as if it's a self-contained, glowing brain that just materialized out of thin air. But the reality is much less mystical. When you look closely, that brain shatters into millions of tiny pieces, pieces of us. AI relies entirely on a massive, invisible infrastructure called the data supply chain. To function and eventually evolve, these systems require a relentless, enormous intake of raw human behavior. Every click, every photo, and every hesitation is vacuumed up and refined into the fuel that powers these models. Tech companies are getting increasingly aggressive to feed that funnel. Meta recently rolled out a policy to record the exact keyboard gymnastics and mouse wiggles of its own employees. They are capturing the micro-movements of their staff to train internal AI assistants, turning everyday office work into direct brain food for the machine. This insatiable hunger for raw data creates an immediate friction point. The machine needs an endless supply of behavioral inputs to get smarter, but acquiring those inputs inevitably collides with basic human privacy. We saw exactly how messy this gets with a tech company called Clarifai. They were caught scraping 3 million photos from the dating app OkCupid to train their facial recognition systems. The Federal Trade Commission stepped in, forcing Clarifai to entirely delete that massive dataset because it was harvested without clear user consent. The companies building these systems treat personal privacy as a raw material to be extracted. In the race to build the smartest software, everyday users have quietly become the necessary collateral damage of the supply chain. That massive extraction of data is producing spectacular results. Take ChatGPT's Images 2.0 model. It effortlessly blends complex written text directly into highly detailed artwork, handling nuances of human creativity and technical precision simultaneously. We're also moving past simple chatbots. Neocognition recently secured $40 million to build AI agents that learn continuously, like humans do. They are pushing for digital assistants capable of mastering complex PhD-level concepts without human intervention. And while some AI is designed to keep you glued to a screen, platforms like Bond are using their algorithms in the exact opposite direction. They deploy AI reinforcements to interrupt your doom scrolling and push you to put the phone down and step into the real world. These rapid leaps in capability have triggered an absolute frenzy on Wall Street. This isn't just a local trend. In Tokyo alone, 60,000 dealmakers and hundreds of startups recently gathered for a massive summit dedicated entirely to negotiating the future of these tools. The sheer scale of the money moving through these negotiations is staggering. The fintech app Revolut recently saw its valuation rocket to $200 billion, while SpaceX eyed a $60 billion deal for the AI startup Cursor, hoping to swallow massive developer innovation in one bite. This concentration of capital and human attention is rewriting the corporate hierarchy. These enormous valuations ensure that the next era of wealth is built entirely on the back of harvested human data. The extreme pressure of this arms race is fracturing the old guard. The titans of the mobile era are finding themselves squeezed by the relentless demands of the AI boom, forcing a massive leadership transition at the highest levels. After 15 years of expanding a $4 trillion empire, Apple CEO Tim Cook is stepping down. John Ternus is assuming leadership of the company, inheriting a high-stakes environment where every design choice and AI integration faces immediate global scrutiny. But while legacy hardware executives are navigating internal transitions, the leaders of the new AI pure plays are going on the offensive, weaponizing market pressure against their rivals. OpenAI's Sam Altman recently took a public swing at his direct competitor, Anthropic. Altman accused Anthropic of using fear-based marketing to sell their new Mythos cybersecurity model, comparing their strategy to a car salesman trying to scare customers into a purchase they don't actually need. At the very top of the industry, there is no middle ground. Executives are either cashing out of the pressure cooker, or they are using it as a weapon to tear down the competition. But centralizing all this wealth and all this data creates what we call the vulnerability paradox. As these AI systems become more powerful and gather more of our personal information, they become giant, irresistible targets for highly motivated bad actors. The irony is striking. That exact cybersecurity tool Altman criticized, Anthropic's top-secret Mythos model, was just breached. An unauthorized group quietly slipped past their digital defenses, proving that even the systems designed to protect the AI are vulnerable to attack. And the threats aren't just external. The industry has an internal rot problem. We recently saw a former corporate cybersecurity employee caught moonlighting as a ransomware negotiator. They were secretly taking a cut of the profits by helping cybercriminals extort the very companies they were supposed to protect. Because the ecosystem is so saturated with threats, tech giants are forced to deploy AI to police their own platforms. Apple recently had to purge an app called Cal AI from the App Store after catching it manipulating users with deceitful billing tricks. Over at YouTube, they've deployed an entirely new suite of AI tools dedicated specifically to hunting down and eradicating a flood of highly realistic celebrity deepfakes that are impersonating real people to scam viewers. We are trapped in a loop. We are relying on AI to police the chaos that AI created, resulting in a permanent, exhausting state of digital vulnerability. Ultimately, corporate policing won't be enough to contain this. The battle over who gets to access and control the massive pools of behavioral data has spilled out of Silicon Valley and directly onto the floor of the US government. Right now, American spy laws, specifically Section 702, are hitting their expiration date. Lawmakers are locked in an intense tug-of-war over whether federal agencies should continue to have sweeping access to our digital lives, or if they finally need to knock before snooping through our data. The models will keep getting smarter, and the valuations will keep climbing. But the real test of the AI era isn't about engineering the perfect digital brain. It's about whether we can rewrite our laws fast enough to protect ourselves from the very machinery we are building.